Content, content, content. Now, I'm not a social media expert. I'm an estate agent, but how I try to work out what's good on social media for me is by what I click on myself. And thinking to what I click is always what interests me. It's always knowledge or advice. So if I see something I like the look of, I see there's something that's going to give me more information than the next person, I'll probably click on it. And that's because most humans love to be able to impart their knowledge to friends and family to make themselves sound more authoritative. So for me, social media is about giving information about a product or service that they wouldn't know about. The big question is so what information do you provide and what content should you provide? We've all seen the videos from the likes of the fantastic, amazing, wonderful Christopher Watkin and others about providing content. I love what Chris does and the content that he provides, but have you ever noticed that the content he provides very rarely is speaking directly to the camera? It's of him interviewing other people in the industry. But Chris is still the bloke that does the video for estate agents, even though he rarely tells people about the video service that he offers. I see the very odd sales message from Chris, but my hunch is that he probably works on the 80-20 rule, and that is 80% content, 20% sales message. That is what is acceptable to your audience. They will take 20% sales message as long as you're giving 80% content and value. Now, I've seen loads of videos from estate agents presenting outside houses or in front of the village sign or in their car talking about house prices in the area or a house they've just sold. And although this is important, it doesn't go far enough for me. It's not daring enough. How many times have you been on an actual valuation and the vendor has asked you what the average value of 3-bed semis is in Coventry? Don't get me wrong, this is what people talk about around the dinner table, and it gets you that initial engagement before they even think of moving. And that's vitally important. But for me, those people who are on the cusp of putting their house on the market or looking to buy a house, it doesn't build the trust required to hook those people, to essentially win the instruction before you've even gone out there. Because for me, the seller, when you're in the living room, wants to know that the agent they're using knows what they're talking about. My view is that you need to have knowledge of selling houses, an opinion, perhaps that even divides people. Have an opinion about the proposed new bypass and what effect it will have on the house prices in the area. Have an opinion about your town square and the flagpole they just put in the middle of it, or what effect it will have on the local market if Waitrose turns into Lidl, or whatever it might be. You'll create far more trust, and actually in some cases you'll create a movement that you become the leader of. Give some tangible advice to potential home movers. That's what home movers want. And again, this is at the stage when they're thinking of selling their house, not at the stage where they're a year or two away. Don't ever forget that you, as an estate agent, do this stuff every day. It doesn't sound interesting to you when you talk about it. It sounds pretty mundane, but to the average buyer or seller, they haven't got a quarter of the knowledge that you've got. So as a seller, as someone who's thinking about just putting my house on the market tomorrow, I'd be interested in hearing about things like whether I can make an offer on a house if my house isn't on the market, whether I should sell first or buy first, or the top 5 ways to add value to my house. Either way, give advice, have an opinion. If all you talk about is house price stats, for me it doesn't make you an authority on moving house, it makes you an authority on house price stats. As I say, it's really important, it shows knowledge and gets people in 2 years before they're thinking of selling. But for me, it's not as in-depth as knowledge as the potential customers that are on the brink of using you. So be a bit brave with your videos, be a bit brave with your opinions and your advice. After all, you're the expert and the client wants to pay for experts. For me, the more the customer trusts that you can help them to move house, the more instructions you'll win and the better fees you can justify. We're going to be helping with all this at EXP. So if you're interested in finding out a bit more about how EXP works and what we can do for you, then click the link below and hopefully I'll speak to you soon.